Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be going over and reviewing this book. It's called Wedding Hacks by Maddie Estenhart. I'm not sure if that's how you say it. This is 500 ways to stick to your budget, stay stress-free, and plan the best wedding ever. If you're new here, I recently just got married. I just uploaded my wedding video. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and check that out. I'll link it down below. I did a different review on a different book recently as well. I believe that one was called Everything a Bride Should Know, and basically what I do is I go over just ones that I personally have highlighted or just have like stood out to me while reading. I obviously don't go over everything in this book. There's over 500 hacks in here, so I'm not going to go through every single one. I just go through the ones that stand out to me, like I said. And then you can kind of decide for yourself whether you want to get the book and figure out more hacks, or also I do this to kind of help give some tips and tricks to new brides that are getting married soon. So that's what we'll be doing today. I go chapter by chapter. So chapter 1 is organizing your budget and to-do list. So shopping for venues, Chapter 2 is shopping for venues and hiring vendors. Chapter 3 is inviting guests and asking for gifts. Chapter 4 is attendance and attire. Chapter 5 is reception and decor. And Chapter 6 is day of hacks. So this is going to be a kind of a long video. I'll try to make it as short as possible, but grab a beverage, get comfortable, maybe a snack, and let's go through it. Alright, chapter 1, organizing your budget and to-do list. First thing is wait a minute before you plan. So this is just suggesting to hold off on making any major decisions until you have big conversation with your partner and your family about budget and expectations. You'll want to know in advance if your parents have unspoken expectations about the formality or size of your wedding. They don't necessarily get to dictate those details, but their opinion will factor into planning one way or another, especially, you know, if they're contributing to financially. But that one is just something I really liked. I know some people don't want their parents' opinions at all, and that's totally okay. But that was just a tip I really liked. Some people might not agree with that one, but that's one of them. Alright, this one's number 3, saying no. So with that being said, here's number 3. Eliminate anything that isn't essential. Ask yourself, is it really what you and your partner want? And give a hard no. And give a hard no to anything that doesn't fit. Also, I just want to say, sorry if you can hear my washers going off. Oh, by the way, I failed to mention, I moved, obviously, into a new house with my fiance. My filming room is still a work in progress, so I'm filming from my couch today, as you can see. The whole house is a work in progress, but you guys will see more of it for Vlogmas. But yeah, anyways. So saying no, this is something that I took really seriously, and I'm super glad I did. I think most people would describe me as a pushover, and I think I am, but when it came to my wedding, I really put my foot down on things I want and different things like that, and I'm super glad I did. Number 4 is researching wedding budgets. One thing that I think is really helpful is I looked up what the average cost of a wedding is in my area, which is about $20,000 to $35,000, and I tried to stay in the $20,000 range, but found myself more so at the $35,000 range. But it's definitely something to really look into, because that definitely helps make for realistic expectations on how much you're going to spend, just based on cost in your area. Number 6, set your priorities and stick to them. Sit down with your partner and make a list of your most important wedding priorities. This one I kind of failed to do, but I do think that it's a great idea. Picking your battles, protect your values, maintain your boundaries, and don't be a doormat. Again, I felt like I did well at this. Next, do you have any expectations for your wedding? You can then follow, making money assumptions. Okay, so this was about asking your families and stuff if they're going to contribute. We sat down and had that awkward conversation with both of our parents. Obviously, we didn't expect anything from them, but if they were planning to contribute, we just wanted to know that in advance so we know what we need to do, and if they weren't, that was totally fine. But again, we still want to know that to know what we needed to do. And then the other thing was using your hobbies as inspiration. Charlie and I did that. We had a lot of like wood plaques and stands and things like that in our wedding because that holds close to both of our hearts. So that was really fun. Budgeting your energy. So if you're going to spend 20 hours reaching out to venues, that would be 5 energy points. And just kind of what that is saying is like not to burn yourself out. I did not stick to this, but I do think it's a great idea. Next is don't start by cutting the guest list. Think about who you want at your wedding and plan your celebration you can afford around that number. First thing I did was make a guest list. I think that that is the most important thing for you to do first, because obviously if you go to do anything else, they're going to ask how many people you are planning on having. If you go to a venue, they're going to say our venue accommodates 50 people. How many people are you thinking? If you're looking at caterers, they're going to say, okay, great. How many people are you looking to feed? Things like that. So it is best to know that number so that way you know how much money you're going to spend around that number. Next is buying a wedding book and a planner. If you're planning on a budget, look for the words budget or practical in the title to avoid resources intended for 6-figure wedding budgets. And my washer is going off, so I apologize for that. We're gonna wait for it to stop now. Gotta love Samsung washers. Okay, moving on. Remember that nothing is necessary. Absolutely nothing is necessary for a wedding except you and your partner and the commitment. As soon as you start thinking your wedding won't be real without flowers or a seated meal, remember that none of those things will impact the end result, which is your marriage. Next is refraining from spending. This is something I'm not good at, but I do think it's a great tip. Shop small and support local artists. Many vendors are independent, women-owned businesses, and most of the money goes directly to supporting the local economy of your wedding location. This was actually not hard for me to do. I am actually a wedding photographer, for those of you who are new here and don't know, so I knew a lot of vendors who were local to me. Honestly, I feel like a wedding is something that a lot of people hire local vendors because obviously you need somebody here, and that's super great. I think that it's really awesome that we at least have something that has us continue to maintain buying local, something big and something that people do all the time, every day, something that's really common. So I never really thought about that, but yeah, anyways, sorry for that side note, but just think about that. Moving on, create a burner email account for your wedding stuff. This is like creating a separate email for you to just receive wedding stuff for. I didn't do that. The thing is, you know, people say when you make one, a lot of the time people forget to check it. I don't think that I would forget to check it. I just have so many email accounts. I have one for work, one for school, one for my photography business, one personal one more sophisticated one for just bills. Like, I just had too many accounts. I couldn't have another one. But I do think that it's a great idea. Honestly, I wouldn't say regret not having one, but I think it would have been nice to make an email with both Charlie and I's names on them, and for him and I to just have like a joint email, like where we can get stuff like our bills and stuff like that. But my husband's just not really great at checking his emails, so but I just don't know that we would be good at checking it, so that's why I didn't make that. Next is tackling your to-do list from big to small. Thinking about big picture conversations should happen first, and then figure out things like that after. Alright, divide and conquer. Maybe one of you can take on research and the other one can take on communication, so dividing up tasks. Switching up the toast, level the playing field, and let loved ones in your life give a toast. We actually opted out of this because of time, but I do like the idea. But it does take a lot of time if you open the floor for speeches from other people. And then I think people not being prepared for speeches and going up might be kind of awkward. So we opted out of that, but I think in theory it's a nice idea. Thinking of your wedding planning as a marriage boot camp. It's high stress, high cost, logistic maze that can put your relationship to the test. I definitely agree with this. I definitely think that is accurate. I think it's definitely the hardest part for us was trying to buy a house and planning a wedding, as well as we were both in school, both had jobs. It's a lot. So I definitely agree with that. Next is get premarital counseling. Sign up for couples counseling early in the planning process. This I highly recommend. Charlie and I loved marriage counseling. It was so insightful. It was so good. It had really great topics. We loved talking about the topics, like we like met with a group of couples each week. One married couple like led the thing, and then there were 3 other couples along with us, so I think 4 couples total. So it was really great. I highly recommend that. Earn miles as you plan. Get a credit card with airline points and put as many wedding related expenses on it as you earn points for flights for your honeymoon travel. Now I would say be careful with this. We didn't do this. I do have one of those type of credit cards already, so but one of the other tips is like not to get in debt for your wedding. So though like it is a good idea, it's a good idea as long as you manage it well. So just be really careful. I think it would be a good idea as long as you paid it off right after, and like it says, earning your points. I think that's really smart. Just don't get yourself in trouble. Next, people only need to think they have input. Oh, what a fun idea. Okay, so this was for people who are giving input and you're kind of like not necessarily wanting it. Something you could say is, oh, what a fun idea, we'll take it into consideration. And that's all you need to say, and keep the advice givers happy. Yeah, basically. Next is make a store spreadsheet and to-do list in your iCloud, so that way you have it. I didn't do this for my wedding, but I did this for my house. When we bought our house, I made a whole like spreadsheet of stuff we already had, so that way when we were at the store shopping for our house, we knew like, oh, we already have a can opener, we don't need one of those. Like what were stuff we still needed. So I didn't do this for my wedding, but like I said, I did it for my house. It's a really great tip. Alright, let's find the next one. Use the rule of 3. Once you've found 3 options you like, stop your search and reach out to them and get a sense of pricing and availability, so that way you're not racking up so many options. There's no need to do extra work if your gut tells you you're making a good choice. Done is better than perfect. So just making sure that, if you have something really great, don't push it. Open a separate bank account just for your wedding. We didn't really do this. We did open a separate bank account once we bought our house, which was the month before we had our wedding. But yeah, I didn't really make a separate bank account for that. I did make a separate savings account, but we didn't like make one together that was separate from our 2 bank accounts at that point. Let's see what else. Okay, chapter 2, shopping for venues and hiring vendors. So, keep in mind that raw spaces aren't necessarily money savers. I highly, highly agree with this. So, I went for a venue that didn't include a lot of things, because the ones that included all the stuff were obviously more expensive because you're paying for your cake. Like I had a venue that, you know, they did the cake, they did cake cutting, they catered, they did all the things, right? So obviously it was more expensive than the venue that I went with that didn't have catering, didn't cut your cake. I had to find my own cake, all that stuff. But I thought, oh great, I can do all that cheaper. No. Nope. Don't make that mistake. Honestly, to save yourself stress, time, and a lot of things in the end, I would suggest probably going with the venue that includes all that stuff. Because let me tell you, nobody wants to cut cake. We actually opted for cupcakes, so that way no one would have to cut cake. Nobody wants to cut cake. Nobody wants to hand out cake. Catering is hard to find. It's super expensive. Yeah, just no, basically. Okay. Blogs can score you 10 to 20% off of vendor prices. This one I didn't really find too much of, so I'm not going to go much into detail of that. Oh, next is a tip for getting married in the off season. October is quickly becoming the most popular months to get married. For my area, September is actually the most popular month to get married, and that's the month that we got married in. And I knew that, and I do think that that tip is an awesome idea, and I do agree that you should do that. The off season would definitely be winter. Unfortunately, nobody wants to get married in winter. It's cold. It's kind of ugly outside. Like, I get it. That's why I didn't want to get married in winter, and that's why I opted for September. September weather where I live is absolute perfection. Fall leaves are coming. Yeah. So I can't attest to that it's cheaper and all that stuff. I don't think that it would necessarily be. I do think vendors would be really happy with you to book in those off seasons, because let me tell you, it is so slow for wedding vendors, all that stuff. So maybe like in that aspect, maybe people run promotions to try to gain more business during that time, because it is slow. One thing I will suggest is a lot of vendors, if you're getting married shortly after Black Friday, sometimes vendors have Black Friday deals. I know some photographers do. I've seen it. But anyways, yeah, we didn't get married in off season. We got married in one of the busiest seasons, and that's just that. Next says, go on a date with your vendor before hiring them. When you hire your photographer or coordinator, you are signing up for someone to be with you from start to finish on your wedding day. Plan several months of communication beforehand. Make sure you feel safe and comfortable with your vendor in person before signing a contract. A bad personality fit can be a major buzzkill during an otherwise joyful day. Luckily, I had a friend be my photographer, and it's totally true. They're going to be with you all day. I know that as a photographer, I meet with my bride and groom at least 2 times, at the very, very least, before their wedding day. And the first one is to do kind of like a consultation type to see if we're a good fit. So highly recommend that. Next, nonprofits are not in it for the money, so try to go with nonprofits. I didn't really find any of those, so if you can, that's great. Remembering the season when booking venues, so jot down seasonal questions before taking a tour, and making sure prospect venues have amenities you'll need. So one thing we actually, oh, am I out of focus? Hold on. Okay, one thing, I hope I was not out of focus this whole time. Anyways, one thing that happened to us is it was kind of really windy during our ceremony time, but my venue was mostly indoors, so we were able to like fix it quickly. Even though we were going to get married outside, we ended up getting married inside. It wasn't too big of a deal. I wasn't there to see it, luckily. I was in my dressing room. But everyone told me it wasn't a big deal, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, luckily I was not outside for that. It sounded and seemed chaotic, but I was not there for that. So anyways, definitely keep that in mind though. Do a lighting check if photography is high priority for your wedding. You know, check out, one thing I did was look at my venue. I don't think I saw it really in the morning, but I saw it during the day and at night just to kind of see how that was. Think outside of steak when you're doing wedding meals because it's cheaper. We did brisket. We were going to do steak, but we ended up doing brisket. Add taxes to service charges and to your catering estimate so that way you know what you're actually paying for. Yeah, let me tell you, when you get quotes from people, it's a lot cheaper than when they add tax and then service charges if you're paying card, which is super annoying. Yeah, just keep that in mind. Make sure to always ask, okay, does that include tax and are there any service fees as well? Search styled shoots for vendor links. I did not have any luck with that. Start with your own connection to get better deals. Yes, so like I said, one of my friends was my photographer, one of my really close friends. My cousin did my cake, things like that. So, okay. Check your contracts for potential issues always. Hope for the best but assume the worst in your contract. So when negotiating your contract, always assume the worst scenario and what would happen if your photographer simply didn't show up on your wedding day. Okay. Compensate your friends to make favors feel more official. So this was something I definitely did. We had a family friend who made sugar cookies for us and didn't charge us, so we, you know, got some gift cards together for people like that helped us out, just so that way it was kind of like we were paying for their services even though they didn't charge us, because it's obviously a very nice gesture and you just want to make sure that those people are compensated as well. Next is friends can't be guests and vendors at the same time. So baking, crafting, and beauty services are all great opportunities for loved ones to help for your wedding, but just kind of keep that in mind that then they'll be occupied. Like I said, I think definitely the photographer, one of my friends who photographed my wedding, definitely experienced that the most, but I would say everyone else, like my makeup artist and hairdresser is one of my cousins, and like she got to enjoy my wedding completely because her services happened before my wedding. So when she got to my wedding, like the ceremony and everything, she wasn't doing, anything like that. Same thing with my cousin that made my cake. She obviously did that beforehand, showed up, didn't really have to do anything during. So I don't believe that is necessarily true in all cases, but definitely for photographer or big roles like that, most definitely keep that in mind. Don't waste your hair and makeup trial. So hair and makeup trials usually charge. It's where you're gonna go in and they're gonna practice doing your hair how you want it for your wedding day to make sure you like how they do it. When it's saying don't waste it, it's saying like get those done for like your bridal shower before your engagement photo, so that way it's like you pay to get your hair and makeup professionally done. I will say I did have a little bit of a bad experience with this, so I'm going to tell you to be careful. One of my makeup trials, this girl did my eyeliner like up to here, like just, and lashes like up to my eyebrow. So I had to go home right before my engagement party and like fix that. So I like the idea. I still continue to do it and it worked out great after that. But just keep that in mind. Maybe make some room though after your makeup trial before your event, because I was kind of rushing. Like we were not in a good space. Make a little bit of room in case you need to go home and maybe fix that and start over or something. I didn't start over. I didn't really have to start over. I made it work, all that stuff. But yeah, just keep that in mind. It's a great idea. It makes sense. It's good. just maybe make a little bit of room in between your pictures or whatever it is in case, okay? Chapter 3, inviting guests and asking for gifts. Okay, first, put together your guest list that isn't based on any kind of reality. Who would you invite if money and capacity were no issue? Would you say yes to your parents plus ones? Would you have that list? Identify the parameters that will help you whittle it down. People you haven't seen in 5 years, coworkers you don't hang out with socially, etc. I actually, in a different book, have a really great breakdown on how to do this. And that one suggested if you haven't seen them in 2 years, which I think is a little bit more accurate, especially if you're really trying to narrow it down. Because 5 years, I was like, okay, 5 years. I've seen everybody 5 years ago. Like, 5 years is kind of a long time. 2 years, you kind of get a better perspective. I have a better tip on that from another book, but I'll talk about that when I review that book. That one will be next, and I believe that's the final book I have to review. I might do one more. I don't know if you guys want to see my wedding planning book, but yeah, anyways. Next, cut your guest list by asking people one simple question. If you're trying to whittle down your guest list, create a rule that helps. Have you and your partner both seen this person in the past 5 years? Are they regular at your holiday festivities? Or one simple way to decide whether someone should get an invite is to ask yourself this: if the person were the only guest that showed up to your wedding, would you still want them there? Again, I have something that's a little bit more straightforward because I feel like that one's kind of, what they're saying here is good. I just feel like it doesn't really narrow it down. Like I said, I have a better tip that another book had on this subject that just really cut to the chase, in my opinion. So, okay, next, be extra clear that you indicated the number of space that has been reserved for them by your RSVP card. For example, an invite address to Johnson & Family says 4 seats have been reserved in your honor. It makes it clear that some people aren't invited. I definitely did this. I even wrote on the invitation the little thing about no children as well. Next, Googling wedding invitations under $1 and going with those. You can find some of those. I don't remember how much mine were. Okay, next, include a clear indication of precisely who is invited to your wedding on the outside of your envelopes. I had this on our RSVP cards, but yes, I also included that on envelopes. So there was an exception to some children, like nieces and nephews, obviously. So on the outside of the envelope, it would say Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so and children's names. And then on their RSVP card, it would have the number with them too, and then how many children. So next, triple check that you've spelled your wedding website ULR correctly on your invitation. I agree with this, very important. Include your wedding URL and link to registry on there is a don't, but I did it anyway. It says that it's not proper etiquette, but I did it on the back. I don't care, I just needed that to be done. Give a deadline and method for RSVP so you don't end up having to hunt down late responders, or at least not as many. I'm going to say this right now, you're going to have to hunt down late responders regardless. We gave them such clear instructions on the invitation, everything like that. You're still going to have to do it. But yes, I will say it was kind of like less. I also did a post on Facebook a couple times like, hey, your RSVP cards are due like tomorrow, so please send those to the mail, please. People, even if you know they can't come, the gesture is often meaningful. We did this as well. Skip the stamps on your RSVP card envelopes if you're including paper response cards. It's an extra out-of-pocket cost. One thing we did to save money on RSVPs is we did postcards because the postage on those are cheaper, so keep that in mind. Use Canva for free wedding invitation designs. I did this for like my bridal shower and stuff like that. And then it does have the tip in here about postcards for RSVP cards. So there's that. Alright, send out thank you cards as your gift arrives. As your gifts arrive, it'll make the job smaller and you'll thank yourself later. I did not do this and I am sad about it. And I'm thinking for our Christmas cards, we will just write thank yous on the back of those as we send those out. So yeah, that's coming soon and I'm not looking forward to it. I have sent out, I think, like 1 thank you so far. So, and I got married 2 months ago. Almost. Wait. 2 months ago in 2 days, so. Yeah. Alright. Feel your flatware. Make sure, you know, you're breaking your shoes. Alright, chapter 4, attendance and attire. Let's see, I don't know that I have much from this section. Okay. Grab paint swatches to help you communicate colors. One thing that was really awesome that I was able to do was get swatches of my bridesmaid's dress to have that exact same color. The bridal shop provided me with those, so that was really nice. Waiting until November to buy bridesmaid dresses to, you know, try to get the sale. I did that. They got kind of a discount, yeah, but I wouldn't say it's a Black Friday discount, so. Alright. Get travel rings for your honeymoon. Okay, I've been seeing this so much, and I'm gonna do this. And okay, sorry, I'm just really excited about this. So I've been seeing this on TikTok. You can get fake lookalikes of your ring on Amazon. Like literally just Google your shape and kind of like the details of what your ring kind of looks like. And you can get like, you know, a $7 ring that looks just like your engagement ring for your honeymoon. I'm so doing this. I'm so doing this because, yeah, I'm not going to risk losing my ring in a place I don't know. Like, I'm just not going to do it, especially, like, we're going to be on the beach, like, all that kind of thing in water. You know what I mean? No. No, but I've been seeing, like, you know, you can get lookalikes on Amazon. So I might do that. I might also get some silicone ones. I haven't really decided. I think I'm going to just get both and just kind of go from there. But I'm really excited to do this, honestly. I don't know why, but like it just seems fun. Anyways, consider jewelry insurance. I made Charlie insure my ring the second he bought it. He's a good man and did that. So, but we don't have insurance on his ring. So, anyways, his ring was a lot less expensive than mine though, so it's fine. We're on to chapter 5, last chapter, reception and decor. Oh, I'm a liar. Last chapter is chapter 6, day of. Never mind. Second last chapter, we're almost there. Alright. Using a sweetheart table to get out of choosing who sits at the VIP table. Love this idea. We did this. Highly recommend. Don't keep your guests waiting for food. We tried our best not to do this. We had appetizers before, so I think we're good on that. Stagger your serving times. We just did this by table. Let's just feed your vendors a hot meal. We did this as well. Except the caterers, I don't really know about them. But anyways, get composable plates if you aren't renting. We did this. Ditch champagne toast. We did not do that, but it says you'll save hundreds of dollars, and it is correct, but we did not do that. Avoid lines at the bar with batch cocktails. We didn't really have any lines except at the beginning. I guess they had a line, but we weren't there for that, so the rest of the night it was good. Alright, don't DIY to save money. I highly agree with this. However, once you factor in cost of trial and error plus the amount of time you'll need to spend on effort, DIY projects are seldom money savers, and they can eat up a lot of energy and budget. I highly agree with this. I learned this very early on, the hard way. Luckily though, very early on, I DIY'd my bridesmaids boxes. It was horrible. It took a lot of, like it said, time, energy, error. Like, I did not DIY anything after that. I'll just tell you that much. Get a display cake. Okay, I really love this idea, but I just didn't want to deal with it. So what people are doing now is they're doing like cupcakes mainly, and then having like a big cake, but in the big cake, it's not all cake. So basically what they do is the top layer is actual cake for you to like cut and everything like that. But like, let's say you're doing a 3-tiered cake, okay? So they'll have like the top layer be cake, and then maybe like the bottom 2 layers be styrofoam that's just frosted, so it looks like it's a big cake, but nobody has to cut it because it's not a cake. So highly recommend that. We did not do that. We just got cupcakes, and then we got a little 1-tiered cake just for him and I. One thing I will say is people are going to eat your cake though. So what happened with Charlie and I is we cut our cake, right? We fed it to each other, great. We got our slice on our plate. We took it to our table, and we thought we left cupcakes for everyone else. Here was our mistake. We left the server and the knife there as well. And guests just decided they were going to cut their own slice of cake, and I went back to get my cake at the end of the night, and it was gone. Not that I'm one of those people that's like going to freeze my cake and eat it the next year. Charlie and I were like, that is disgusting, and we are not doing that. But I did want to like take it home just to like eat it the next day. But we didn't get to do that. But like I said, my cousin made it, so I just told her that if she can make me another one on our 1-year anniversary, because that's better than freezing it. I understand the concept, but that's just, I'm sorry, but that's gross. Okay, chapter 6, Day of Hacks. Alright, we're almost to the end, guys. Stick with me. Alright, spend the night with your partner. The night before, traditions say that you should spend the night apart before the wedding. But if that's going to be more anxious, spending the night away from each other, then, do what's right, so that way you're in the right emotional space to get married. I also highly recommend. Print out a day of checklist. I did not print mine out, but I did make a day of checklist, and I made a digital one so I could share with all my bridesmaids, and I had someone that double checked those lists as we went. Pack an emergency kit. I had my bridesmaids do this. I actually gave them a little emergency kit for brides in their bridal box, so I had them pack those in case we needed it. Know that something will go wrong. It's inevitable. Travel with your outfits. This is saying that in case anything were to happen to your luggage, that you should put your outfits in your carry-on. I don't know that I want to do that, guys. I really don't. But it is a help. The tip is good, but I don't know. Get grounded before your day starts. Do some yoga, take a jog, all that stuff. I wanted to do this, but seriously, ain't nobody got time for that. Like, I even woke up extra early. But, however, here was my outlook on that. Is I was like, I'm going to be up till at least midnight tonight. And I'm going to be doing stuff all day long. I think me sleeping in and getting some more sleep is probably more important. And then I was kind of up a little bit beforehand and kind of had a little bit of time. But then people started arriving early to my house. So, yeah, it's okay. But I do like the tip, but I don't know. Don't forget a steamer. Also very important. Keep snacks in the getting ready room. We did this, but I was still starving. I had my maid of honor make sure that I was eating, and I was still starving. So, just so you know, you're going to be starving anyway. Wear your engagement ring on your right hand. Also did that because your wedding band goes before your engagement ring. So you need... Oh, actually, funny story. I didn't do that. I wanted to. And then it's mid-ceremony. And I'm thinking like the rings are going to come soon. And I realize my engagement ring is on my left hand. So I'm standing there. It's super early on in the ceremony. I'm still holding my bouquet. I haven't even handed it to my maid of honor yet. So I'm holding my bouquet, and I'm like just, like really discreetly pulling it off my finger and sliding it onto the other one. It was a challenge, but I made it happen. Phone a friend, hand off your phone to your most trusted gatekeeper and let them handle your incoming texts and calls. I didn't really do this, But I did give people, like, when they asked for day of phone number, I did give them my mom's number so they wouldn't call me. Build bonus time in your schedule. Yes, very important and highly recommend. Use a crochet hook or bobby pin to fasten buttons. We just use our hands, but I do like the idea. Have a day of lunch planned. Like I said, we had food all morning and all lunch, but was still starving. Assign an official portrait wrangler. My photographer took care of that. Sentimental details, having the photographer capture that, and she did. It was great. Minimize pre-ceremony portraits. Yes, we did that. So before the ceremony, we took pictures separately, like with our bridesmaids, and then groomsmen took pictures, like just them, and things like that. And then after the ceremony, when we came together, we just had to get the one picture of, like, you know, us all together, groomsmen and bridesmaids, and just different things like that. So highly recommend that. It's amazing. Bring an invitation if you want it photographed. Funny story, I saved an invitation. My mother threw it away in the trash. So I went on a hunt looking for any extra invitations I could find. We did not really have any extra invitations, but I managed to find one, which was all I needed. So we got it done. Ask for pictures you actually want. I did that as well. Consider which portraits you will frame. I also did that. As a photographer, though, I thought about all these things. Let your photographer eat first. So my photographer ate second. Me and my husband ate first. And then our wedding party ate after us. And she was in our wedding party as well as our photographer. So yeah, she got things done. Tell VIP guests to arrive 20 minutes early. I actually did tell all my guests to arrive early because where I'm from, people are always late. So for them to arrive on time, I told them all to arrive early. However, my wedding was so weird with guests. They just did the unexpected. They were there so early, man. But it's fine. It was good. Start the ceremony late, like I said. Did that. Speak and walk slow at the ceremony. I think we did that. That's kind of a blur, but hold your kiss for a few seconds. We did that. So the photographer has a chance to capture it. Don't just, like, you know, kiss and let go right away. Like, she needs some time. Use a tape and bra. I didn't have to do that. Don't forget a pair of socks. I did remember socks. Remember your meds if you take any. I don't, so I didn't have to. Test your guest book pen. Funny story. Our guest book pen, oh no, so we did have a guest book pen, but we had some other stuff for people to write on, like date night ideas and that kind of thing. We did not have a pen for that. So we were hunting for pens, let me just tell you. And I did not test out our pen. I missed that, but it works. We got people's signature. All right, but anyways, like I was saying, we did not test out our pen. We were too busy for that, but I think it works. We got signatures in there, so I think it's fine. Okay, I think this is the last tip I have for you guys. Let me just double check. Yeah, this is the last tip I have for you. Take 15 minutes to yourself and your partner. Grab your partner, take 15 minutes to be alone after the ceremony to soak up the joy of commitment that you two just made. It will give you a chance to re-energize and center yourselves before going back into the rest of the celebration. So we kind of did this. However, I will let you know, there is not really any place to have privacy at your wedding. Like, your getting ready room, typically, like, also your bridesmaids getting ready room. Like, they're gonna come in and out of there. Like, my mom, his mom, like, every woman was in our room. Like, we all shared a room. Secondly, the boys had to then share a room with us because their room turned into the bar at some point. And then I had a family member who was breastfeeding and needed to use our room sometimes because it was the literally only private room in the whole place besides the bathroom. Yeah. So, and then everywhere around our venue, like, people were hanging out outside, inside, everywhere. Like, there was nowhere. But I love the idea, but realistically, I'm gonna let you know, you're probably not gonna have that. But great idea once again. So yeah, I mean, looking back, like I said, some of these things just didn't work out for me. Love the ideas, and that's why I'm sharing them with you, just kind of taking into consideration. But yeah, I definitely highly recommend this book. I think it had really, really cool tips. This was actually my favorite book out of all the ones I bought, like overall, all these tips I think were the best. Not to say that those other ones didn't have good tips. They did. I mentioned that in the last book, that, you know, I mentioned the tips I liked. In this book, I told you some of the tips were the same in a different book, just a little bit better, like said. So, but I read them here first, so I want to give credit to them, even though the other book, you know, deserves its credit too, but I read this one first, so I heard it here first, okay? But anyways, I highly, highly recommend this book. If you liked anything that I said in here, just know there's a million more where that came from. So I highly recommend. I will link this down below if I can find it online. I got it, I believe, at Barnes & Noble. But I'll try to link it a couple different places for you guys if I can find it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And I will see you guys in my next video. It might be Vlogmas. It might be later. I'm not sure yet. But I'll keep you guys updated. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.